Hello, people. It's Rick the kid with the hot bars, and I am joined by my co-host today, the vivacious, voluptuous Vixen, Rad Hazard. How you doing today, buddy?
I've been called many, many, many things. Vivacious and voluptuous. You
Yeah,
kidding me? I've
no,
never.
that's just how I'm feeling about you right now, buddy. Like I'm smitten over you. I'm so happy to have you here on Golden Triangle Media.
My goodness.
This is episode 1 of a new podcast we're going to venture on here. Unfortunately, the Backyardians met an untimely death, maybe about a year or so ago. Right around the same time that we hosted It's Not Dead Yet. And about 6 months ago, you and I were on this same channel discussing, your story in backyard wrestling. And we let slip that maybe one day in the not too distant future, you and I would decide to do a podcast together where we could dig a little deeper into some of the stories that we already started talking about, or tell some news stories, maybe get some other people on here. But this is Yard Times, baby. How do we feel about it, Rad? What are we going to be doing?
Oh, the great thing about podcasts like this, and we talked about it a lot, this is a long time coming, but you know so much about the BYW link and the stuff before I was around, and I know so much about the GBYWN era and the stuff after you took your side of the tale. And there's so much story to tell, so much to chronicle. We're both historians of the backyard scene. There's so much that people know, but so much they still don't know, especially on a personal level with us and our thoughts and feelings and emotions that have gone through the literal decades at this point of the backyard wrestling community. And this podcast is to help, in a way, unlock our brains and remember, rediscover, and refeel those emotions and those thoughts and those moments of literally 10, 15 years ago. I'm sure there's stuff we're going to think about and remember. Even after this episode ends, we're going to go back and be like, oh, I remember this thing that happened. I remember this and that. And so many amazing super shows, amazing wrestlers, tournaments, championships. I got mine right here, GBYWN World Title. So many great feuds, and that's a particular one right there. We're going to talk about feuds and a lot of great people.
Yeah, and we're hoping to help some of those people unlock corners of their brain just by maybe hearing a story that we tell that somewhat relates to something that happened to them, and it unlocks an entire weekend worth of memories for them that might have been lost through the sands of time. Just living vicariously through us talking about it helps them jog their memory. And like, if we're going to be honest about it right now, a lot of the people that are going to be watching us are people in the community, right? Like if it grows, it grows, and that would be fantastic. But for the most part, it's going to be people that live this story right along with us. And because of that, I mean, we absolutely have to thank them, not only for being here and giving us an opportunity to have this platform, but for existing in the first place and giving us an opportunity to wrestle and to have people to wrestle in front of and with and to hang out with. Like literally every single person is super important to our community. Doesn't matter how they were thought of then or what they think of themselves as maybe being a low man on the totem pole or whatever. Everybody was equally as important. We needed every single human to come along on this ride with us, from Sean Jovi to Chris Cash to Chris Castle to Fokelin to Rad Hazard to Sick Rick to the Champ JP. We needed all of us, right? And the community is what made this so special and what gave us the opportunity to have these matches and have these shows and tell these stories. So I think the top of the list, most important thing to do is to thank all those people, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I think of pretty much anything like this in entertainment as a giant car. And it doesn't matter if you are a tire or if you are the tiniest bolt, every single piece matters to that car. And that is the exact same way with backyard wrestling. Every little moment Sean Jovi had that we laughed at back then, now we laugh with him and enjoy those moments with him as he's grown to become a great wrestler on his own. You still with the sick bars, my friend. You're still going. You're still rocking it, doing your own thing. Alex Zane out there, who knows? He's probably on a plane going to Japan for all we know, doing amazing stuff. So from the highest of highs, the lowest of lows, we're all on the same level when it comes to something like this. And I'm really glad to be a part of it with you, buddy.
Hell yeah, man. And as it pertains to particularly this podcast and the platform that we're using, we have to thank our man Tom Bryce from SportsWire Radio. He was gracious enough to share with us the opportunity to use his platform. This is a very expensive service, StreamYard, and I think it was maybe outside of my pockets. Especially now with the new house that I moved into and the new life, I don't think I was going to be spending the amount of money that it costs to be on StreamYard. But Tom Bryce is the absolute man, dude.
Oh, yeah. Brad Hazard always pretended to be rich, but he really wasn't rich, I'll tell you right now. We don't have that kind of money. But for those of you who don't know who Tom Bryce is, obviously after the GBYWN kind of went away, faded off, Backyard Wrestling still existed. It went on in its own little pockets of the world. Tom Bryce is a podcaster for SportsWire. I've only been on there like 8 times. I can't believe I forgot.
You're in the Hall of Fame twice. You would think you would know.
Oh, I like to thank all the little people. But either way, no, SportsWire Radio, Backyard Wrestling, Underground Wrestling, Professional Wrestling. He's talked to big rock bands. He's talked to the tiniest backyard wrestler who jumps on a trampoline. He thinks all wrestling matters just as I do, just as you do. And he loves this concept. He's interviewed both of us. Like Rick said, I'm in the Hall of Fame twice. I don't know why. But either way, I'm there. And because of our friendship with Tom Bryce and the fact that Tom Bryce loves to hear these stories as much as everybody else, he's helped us with this technology. And now we're going to use it to the fullest in his honor and with his help. So, Tom, wherever you are, I know you're probably online right now. You're probably doing an interview right now. But when you see this later, thank you very much, buddy. We appreciate you.
Absolutely, we appreciate you. And as much as I love that I'm rocking the new Golden Triangle Media merch available at Pro Wrestling Tees, I'd love to get my hands on something SportsWire Radio maybe to rock for Tom because he truly deserves it. Maybe one day he'll get around to doing some merch or something. But yeah, I would love to do as much as we can to support his cause for all he's done to support our causes. He makes everybody feel important. Like by being interviewed by him and the way that he talks about people, he makes you feel important just because he's talking to you, and he's just a great person. So we thank him again for allowing us to use his platform here and to get our show off the ground. And speaking of our show getting off the ground, we've already done something a little bit like this, right? You and I sat together for about an hour 6 months ago, like I talked about. And we discussed how your career specifically, or your backyard career, whatever we'll call it that, but your backyard story started. And you and I first met each other at Midwest Extravaganza in Indiana, 2009, right?
Yes, that's right.
Do you remember if we had any interactions with each other outside of a hey, hello?
I mean, well, first of all, I definitely remember you from the forums. Not that we had any super interaction there or anything, but I already knew that you were a kid with an attitude. You got a chip on your shoulder. You're ready to kill it. But outside of that, I don't think we had any interaction. Not that I would have much interaction with most of the guys anyway, because this was like technically my second super show, but my first real like GBYWN super show was Midwest Extravaganza. And seeing you there, man, with the hair, doing the moonsault, like doing all that crazy stuff, man, let me tell you. No, we didn't have much interaction. It was really just me and Folkland. I managed Folkland on the show. Outside of that, it's weird how we were two ships sailing, kind of missing each other, even though we're at the same event. But it was my first show, so there really wasn't much to get on from the ground floor. Just taking a chair shot and thinking my career was over, really.
Yeah,
taking that chair shot. I was like, all right, pen name has won the U.S. title. I'm probably done wrestling. So that it could have been a one and done right there and then,
Yeah, and I mean, for me personally, you can hear a lot of my side of the story from Midwest Extravaganza on Backyardians episode 9 or so, I believe, somewhere in there, maybe 8, where I discuss my feelings on it. But short and sweet was like, didn't have the best time at that show, so if we didn't talk, it was probably a little bit on my end, as well. I was kind of grumpy about it was a long trip out to Indiana. We had no sleep. It was a long weekend. I felt like the crowd really wasn't as into it as I expected them to be, maybe. And a couple people tried, people really tried to get the crowd going, and it seemed like half the crowd was more interested in maybe practicing for their match or watching the match they already had on a camera in the house or something like that, as opposed to like being an audience. Yeah. And I remember being extremely frustrated by that, to the point where like me and Ed were both like, we might not wrestle anymore. Like it was it was really a downer for us. But at the end of the day, you know, we got home and got out of our bad mood and life kept going, right?
I do remember the weird, awkward feeling of the show. I didn't really know what to expect, though. And coming to it later and seeing other shows, it was a little awkward, it was a little tense. Maybe it's just because it was the first ICW show. I really don't know for sure. But it got better. It did get better as we went to other shows.
And that was a long way away, right?
Yeah.
You took your time off, which we talked about in our first interview with each other, and ended up coming back for CCW Welcome to the Real World.
That's it. Yep.
Was that the name of that show? Yeah.
It was.
Yeah. With that show, there was some Awakening versus Rad Hazard type of thing happening, right?
Yep. I was still feuding with the pen name at that point, and pretty much the whole time I was gone from Backyard Wrestling. All of 2010, I was gone. I never went to a single show, didn't go into a ring, didn't do a move. It's the only year I've never wrestled. And I still wanted to be a part of the community because everything was still so fruitful. Everything was still, banging on all cylinders. So having the Radical Movement around, fired up, Alex Cross, other people joining the Radical Movement, it kind of allowed me to still be a part of the show without actually being there. If I actually lived there, I probably wouldn't even had a Radical Movement. I would just wrestle. But it allowed me to kind of get into that and become a part of the community in that way. And that ultimately led to me coming back, having this big rematch with the pen name. And I remember getting my ass beat at the beginning of the show. I never saw footage of that. It's like one of the few things I never saw footage of from the yard. Getting my ass kicked during that show by like a whole faction of people. But ultimately, that led to me and Pen Name having the match for the United States title. Pen Name never dropped the title that entire time. And ultimately, that's the first time we stepped foot in the ring together, buddy. That exact moment.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And I have a little clip here that I'd like to show for our audience members. A little throwback to, what was this, February 2011?
I think it was March 2011.
Yeah, because the Awakening had formed at the end of 2010 in October. And I'm kind of blanking on how you were just describing it, but did the Radical Movement exist at this time?
I think the Radical Movement existed from 2009 onward. It was it's just I wasn't there. That was the weird thing about it. Yeah.
So here was Rad Hazard versus the pen name. It's the end of the match. So let's just jump in.
My first superplex. Look at this. No practice, just did it. Fun fact, my most recent superplex, I did 2 of them in 2 weeks ago.
So Friday. I'm in the background over there sitting on a steel chair that I'm gingerly folding up.
Interesting. Look at me in my jeans trying to be DDP.
I don't know if you were trying to be or if you just actually were.
No, DDP was actually a good wrestler, though. That's the difference.
Oh, but Falkland's on the ring.
Oh, okay.
Catch a pen name. Oh!
So smooth. And then you trying to save the day. Well, no.
Look, we're fighting over the chair. Come on. No, Stacey, get out of the way.
We got the doors. Oh, no. Oh! What a shot, by the way.
If I'm being honest, we did a pretty good job on that.
I love even the turning of the chair was so smooth. That was a real pro move, buddy.
Yeah, I think we did really nice on that. That was solid.
Me and my terrible elbow pads falling down. Switched those like immediately too. And there's the United States title that I had to buy a new one because that one was sullied.
And you gotta love Big Will's reactions. Like, he made everything with his commentary. Are we hearing it? Are you hearing the video come through?
No, I'm not able to hear it.
That's unfortunate.
That's okay.
Well, we'll have to get that figured out in future episodes. So for now, That was that. Let's get that shot in there. Look at that.
Oh man, look at that hair.
This footage is courtesy of you. I received it at like 480p and found a way to jack it all the way up to 720 for this. So
You know,
here's
crazy
one for.
technology.
Oh,
Back of the head.
yeah, that was rough.
You know, at the time, that was just really cool. Now I'm like horrified.
Yeah, right. And do you find yourself like, I don't know how often you maybe take a look at our older stuff, maybe
Mhm.
just as it's posted on GTM gives you a reason to like click on it and see what it was
Mhm.
like. But for me, I've had to curate a lot of this stuff and go through it and see what it looked like. And there are just so many things that back in the day would have been like passed over. Like people wouldn't have even thought twice about it. And it's like 10 other things were scarier that day, much less that weekend. And it's like I'll just see the littlest, most innocuous thing and just think, oh, we really did that. Like, how did we all walk out alive every single time?
The craziest part is that I don't think we were like bad at what we were doing. We were
No.
purposely falling on our heads. We were purposely taking the chair shots. It wasn't that we were being unsafe on purpose or like on accident. We were kind of being unsafe on purpose. And somehow in doing that, we're all still okay. Nobody's gone to the loony bin. Nobody's been, passed away, unfortunately, because of this. Like, we really lucked out in that way. Nobody's terribly paralyzed, like, in that sense, in the
Yeah.
art,
Yeah.
and it's weirdly a miracle, but also I guess we just did okay.
Yeah.
Like, we
We
trusted
were.
each other enough.
Yeah. I don't know,
And
man.
I still would say, oh, let's stick to like more sports entertainment nowadays, guys.
Right.
But back then that was what was cool. And that was the most marketable, if you want to put it that way, thing in the music videos.
Right. Exactly.
It's something.
That
Yeah.
was, I mean, about the only way to get over in the music video. Like flat back bumps and storytelling didn't play whenever you have a Metallica song on. Like
Mhm.
it didn't quite work. But so at the end of the day here, the pen name was not necessarily in the awakening. He thought he kind of was. Rad Hazard was fighting the pen name. So we were like pseudo in the pen names corner, but in reality, we were not. And the whole thing was just one giant ruse to take out the pen name. And honestly, initially that was the story of the awakening. We were mad at the pen name, so like that's what we wanted to do. And we expanded upon that in the future and went another route that ended up being very fun for most of us. But you walk out with the GBYWN United States Championship, and then we don't see you again until when?
That would be until PKM2, personally.
Which
I
was what, just like 2
May.
months later?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was you, really, my friend, because we'll break the fourth wall already, but you came up to me and you said, "Hey, man, if you're going to keep doing this and you're going to try and do it on a high level, you got to get in front of bigger shows. You got to get in front of the big dogs." And you were very adamant about like BXW is the place to be, and that was and PKM2 was already announced. It was already coming up. I don't know if any matches were announced or anything, but by that point, I had already met Patrick Wilson, who's now my tag team partner, Wade Kruger. I'd already kind of talked to Eric Williams about maybe coming up for a show one day, and that was very much like we'll see kind of thing. Because, like I said, 2010, I really thought I was done. I really thought I was done. I was just kind of having fun doing storyline stuff and videos. So I 100% credit you as the guy that really nudged me the final nudge to go, you know what, I should go, because I already filmed stuff with P-Dub-Dub. We already had something that kind of needed an ending. Well, this is pro wrestling. This is backyard wrestling. Let's have a match to end it.
Yeah,
And,
absolutely.
And that all came from you. That was directly from you. So I thank you for that, man. Thank you.
Hell yeah. And I honestly, like, that's one of my bigger memories from the weekend of this show is you and I in the hotel room while everybody else is down at the pool. And I busted out my laptop and my hard drive and schooled you on some BYW Link stuff, like we're sitting there, maybe watched probably Abyss and Supercard, because those would have been the two things that I showed everybody at the time. I mean, I probably have still watched that video like 2 or 3 times this year. And it's just like, for me particularly, this show wasn't like one of my favorite shows, like wrestling shows that I've ever been on, but it was very chill, very hangout, very enjoying each other's company. And like, that's what I got to do with you. It was just us two for like a solid, at least hour, maybe even more than that. But they went to the pool and we hung out watching backyard wrestling and showing you about the Chris Franks of the world and those type of people, right?
And I really didn't know much about the BYW link. Obviously, I knew it by name, but to see those videos and have a source who knew about it, you were telling me the inside scoop, that meant the world to me. It really opened my mind to the previous generation.
And so you show up for PKM2, you do your thing. I do a little thing with Marky that weekend. I was supposed to wrestle Mike. And then there was like some weird situation. Maybe it got too dark or something. Mike's match ended up getting pushed to the start of day 2 against Dawn. It was supposed to main event. There was a bigger story behind it, but the gist of it is that my match got pushed and I ended up wrestling Marky, which, I mean, of course, like, why would you not love to wrestle Marky? And that was PKM2. I don't believe we had much interaction there, aside from like maybe me, you, and Focalin like recognizing that we have been on the same shows with each other a few times now. It's like all the shows that Rad Hazard has been at, all three of us have been together, right? The big shows wise, anyway. And the next big show was for you was the end of the year, right?
Yep. Goodbye 2011. Goodbye 2011.
And Goodbye 2011 was built up to have a Survivor Series match featuring the Radical Movement, right?
Yes. So at PKM2, that's when Alex Cross like saved me. Not saved me, but did the count for me to regain the United States Championship. The Radical Movement kind of has a second life, and that begins to form a bigger group, which ultimately turns into this giant Survivor Series match, which not too many of those in the yard. They were always a big deal, and especially at BXW, this might have been the only one. I can't think of another one. So I felt like it was a really big culmination of probably 5 or 6 months since I had been gone from the last Super Show.
And do you remember, like, there were some bookings that were changed on the day of, or maybe the last week, because I wasn't supposed to be in this match. I was kind of like a last minute addition, and I don't exactly remember how or why it happened. It's one of those things where it's kind of it's a long time ago and a small detail that probably doesn't matter very much, right? But I remember I was added in the last minute, and I didn't think it made any freaking sense at all because I was still full-blown Awakening. The Awakening was still doing their thing pretty strong. The Radical Movement was the other heel faction, and it's like I didn't quite get why I was in it, but at the same time, like, I wasn't ever the type to necessarily complain about bookings or ask questions. I was just like, if you need me to be in this, I'll do it. It's not a big deal, whatever. So because of that, we have a little clip here that we'll jump through the match a little bit and do some watching.
Oh, it's like a 55-minute match. We got to jump
right.
But
so
I don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember how it was decided who would be in it and whatnot. It wasn't my decision. I probably decided my group, if even that. But I think the idea was mostly just good guy or bad guy. If you're in the GBYWN, you were fighting this invading force of the Radical Movement, like we were the NWO or something. Which I don't love that nowadays. Like looking at it in 2025, because it would downgrade any other heel group. So I wouldn't really want to do that personally nowadays. But I think that was the idea.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, even if you just look at Team GBYWN, like what got put together was it was myself, Joe Randa. Oh man, this is gonna hurt. I don't remember a lot of my team. DMAC, right?
DMAC.
Me, Joe Randa, DMAC. Was it 4-on-4 or 5-on-5?
Ooh, I want to say it was. We got a little list here. Look at you, baby face.
Young man. Still had no, the hair was leaving me real hard at that point. The hair was going away.
Hey, we got 5 here. Okay.
So yeah, it does look like 5. We got the new mark of excellence over there, along with Ryan Ragnarok, Rad Hazard, and Alex Cross, right?
Yep. Newmark, I remember just joined at NYE, I believe, the first NYE.
And then my team consists of me, D-Mac, Ryan Brody, Joe Randa, and someone who I'm sure we'll see very soon.
Yep.
Do you remember anything about this match, the planning of it? Anything stick out?
I remember not being in the match for like 85% of it because it was such a long match. So in the corner there, I mean, this is probably somewhere around my 17th match ever, something like that. And so I just sitting there thinking, okay, I got to remember what I'm doing with Joe Randa in about 30 minutes. And just waiting and watching you guys absolutely kill it one after the other. I was just really happy to be part of it. I wasn't even like mad or anything about not having a big role because I was at the end. But just seeing like it was still really cool. Like all these people that you only see in videos, and now you're there with them, and we're all being buddy, the big group together. Oh, we love each other, kind of thing. Even on camera, it was just surreal. It was still surreal to me, and I really enjoyed not only watching you guys go, but just go for such a long time. It was really cool. I also remember, not that it has anything to do with me, but I remember Joe Randa goes for an elbow drop near the end of the match, and you can audibly hear Ryan Ragnarok yell, "Holy shit!" and then it gets hit, and it was 100% real. And to this day, I still joke with him about that. And I did it probably like 3 weeks ago.
I love that. Little one-liners that happen in like 2008 is about 70% of what Ed and I say to each other whenever we're hanging out. like it's just little stuff that happened when we were 18 years old, just stuck in our brain for the last 15 years, and now here we are.
I will say at some point in this match, I'm pretty sure P-Dub slaps me in the face, and that was the beginning of every single match we ever have with each other in the yard or the pro. He slaps me at some point. And that just became a thing after this match. I'm pretty sure it does happen in this match.
Some awakening stuff right there. We're healing on the heels. I don't. It is what it is. I love my man Matt Nemo though. That is my absolute boy. So I remember probably insisting that him and I were going to start together just because like I knew that my role in this match wasn't for long. Most of what I was doing in this match was as an added participant that came late. So the fact that like it didn't focus around me was more than okay. I just wanted to make sure that I had fun doing what I was doing, you know?
Yep. I'll give you a fun fact. Matt Nemo, Drake Genocide, the only man to not betray me in the radical movement. He is the longest running member. He's the only one. He's the longest running member. And after the whole faction fell apart, he still like managed me for a few more months at BXW. And then we just kind of did a promo once where I was like, "You don't need to come out with me anymore," or something, just something like that. And we just kind of moved. And he's like, "Oh, I love you, Rad." And then that was the end of our story. That was it.
That's beautiful because that's exactly how I want my story with Matt Nemo to end one day. Just a quick, I love you and a hug, and we both ride off into the sunset like Grease. So we got a little Joe Randa B cubed action going on. Love these two guys in the ring. Oh, okay. We're super kicking 17 minutes in, which I mean, probably 9 minutes worth of music and intros.
I mean, that's the most B cube thing I've seen in a while, though, right there. Yeah. Fantastic.
B cube does.
We don't give Cube enough credit for comedy.
For everything. Not only for his wrestling, but also like booking and being a human and bridging every gap. And it's like, it's really funny to me. Ridiculous.
I should do that again.
No, you shouldn't. No.
I do the old normal one now, the pro one. Oh, I fall back. Nah, I gotta flip that shit. All right, that spot right there. So that spot right there, I literally did about a week ago.
You know what's funny is Wade actually did a similar spot to that at It's Not Dead Yet with AMC.
Oh, there you go. See, that's why we're a tag team. I did have a weird challenge at this point where I was trying to head spike everything as much as possible just because I couldn't do anything else. Oh, there we go. There we go.
Oh man. Oh brother.
Oh man.
A little noogie action always
Joe
helps.
Rando was so fun. He was one of the guys that was really nice to me early on, and I'm sure he did something like "good shit, buddy," "good shit, buddy," or something like that because he was always trying to hype me up.
Yeah, and so that's something that we talked about on the Backyardians podcast, I believe. But was there ever anybody in particular that you really enjoyed having in the crowd for your matches? Like someone that just got your shit, you know?
I Johnny Boy loved my stuff. Jimmy Spino was a big. He really loved the technical wrestling when I was doing the pure wrestling stuff. So I would even have him be camera just so he could do commentary and talk about all that kind of stuff. Halo Brown loved the technical stuff when I was doing that, but I don't know, man. I loved when anybody popped for me at all, really. Especially at this point, I was just trying to prove myself, really, because I knew the score. I was around 3 times a year. Like I needed to prove myself still.
I feel that. Oh, here's the first real in-match interaction between us.
Here we go. Of course, it's a chop. Of course, it is. In the cold too. Oh, do you remember this? You wanted everyone to clap to it.
Yep.
I'm taking them though. All right, now it's getting rough. Now oh man, come on now. Now we're just Penta. What are we doing here?
That worked. That worked. I like it. I'm not mad at it at all. My chest feels
cool.
Perfectly fine over here. So.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I'm not mad at it. But yeah, for me personally, like I always knew that like the right people in the crowd that knew your shit could take a match from like good to like next level and have people really remember it, you know?
Yep.
And for me, like two of those people were always Devin Bliss and Joe Randa. For whatever reason, like they just got what I was putting down, and they were both like outspoken audience members. So as they were getting loud, the rest of the crowd would kind of feed off their energy. So I loved having those two in the crowd, and especially at the same time. Like I had a match with XCal at CCW, and I had Joe Randa and Devin Bliss in the crowd at the same time, and it was nuclear, bro. Like Sick Rick versus XCal had more heat than anything else that whole day, just because of specifically Devin and Joe Randa. It was great.
Hell yeah. I remember Crazy Pete going wild for a lot of the matches. Maybe it was PKM 3 or 4 or both. He was always outspoken out there. And I love that so much.
So let's get through a little bit of this heat that we dropped on D-Mac here.
Poor D-Mac.
Joe Randa taking some heat.
Here's a question for you, Rick, because I just can't think of it, or it didn't happen. Did B-Cubed ever wrestle Chris Frank? Because I feel like that'd be the funniest match of all time.
Oh, B-Cubed versus Chris Frank.
Right? I don't think it happened.
I haven't looked through a lot of the XWA tapes yet, and there were some smaller shows. I can't imagine those two didn't wrestle at least once.
I got it right. Watch it be a very serious professional match.
I mean, of course it is. Oh, here we go.
Here we go. All right. I guess I did a little more than I remember.
Yeah, see, that's kind of how I feel too, but I'm pretty sure this is like just a train wreck spot, right? Like a 10-8 coming.
Yeah.
10-8.
And to do all this in a tiny ring is wild.
Yeah. Oh, Dragon's Gate. You think you could throw clotheslines, bro?
I throw some pretty good clotheslines nowadays. Phenomenal.
You face spiked it.
I was trying, man. I was trying to spike everything. Oh, speaking of which.
Yeah.
Captain
No sell it. Throw the Awakening. Oh.
Whenever I think of Ryan Ragnarok, this is the look.
Oh, Hatchet Driver 2. Game over,
Oh,
bud.
oh, what? Oh, so
Yeah.
who decided to do like 5 moves there? Was it
Me.
you or
Yeah, it
Randall?
was me. It was me.
Okay, okay.
Um, just because like we couldn't quite decide on a finish, and I was
Mhm.
like, just dump me on my head a few times in a row. Like, no better way to finish somebody than a couple overhead land on head suplexes.
Oh yeah, all Japan style for sure. Nowadays, I appreciate that so much more.
So we'll fast forward to the end of the match here a little bit because there's still plenty of time left, and
Oh, the
we're already at
superplex? I'm shocked.
41 minutes.
Look at J2 Step down there watching.
Oh,
Oh, I love
J2
that.
Step is always watching. He's watching
J2
us right now.
J2 Step is one of the maybe the only GBYWN guy like a traveled GBYWN guy I never touched, never wrestled, never did anything with.
Really?
He's the only one. Yeah.
Huh. Well,
I
honestly, he was a bit elusive, right? Like he wouldn't necessarily be everywhere all the time.
He did a lot of tag team stuff by the time
That
I was
is,
out there too.
yeah. Damn, never touched him, huh?
Never touched him, no.
I had one of the best matches of my life with J2 Step, and I'm sure we'll get around to that eventually on Golden Triangle Media somewhere.
Oh,
Oh, damn.
fantastic.
Joe Randa was so unbelievably good.
Underrated, man.
Yeah.
Underrated.
I don't even know if that's the case, is it? Like, doesn't everybody know how good Joe Randa was?
He's better than that. He's better than that to me.
Yeah, I feel you. Maybe
Because he
under
can work
talked
on the
about.
fly too.
Yeah.
I've seen him when he went to 203 BYW. He wrestled BRB on the fly for like 15 minutes, and it was great for the yard. And the yard people were into it. Like it was great.
So Ryan Brody jumped in, and I guess he was just mad at Joe Randa. He wasn't joining the radical movement or anything, but
No, I'm
he was
pretty
helping
sure they
push
had
you
a
over.
match. They had the match the next day, so that was to build up that match,
That makes
which
sense.
is one of Randa's last matches. Like he didn't really wrestle all that much after that,
Right.
and we didn't know that. That was the very tail end of the Randa story.
At, at least in terms of like the number of matches he had, but for a few years afterwards, he was still popping in and out.
Yeah, he was always at the big shows, the
Yeah.
biggest ones, maybe a
Right.
PKM here and there.
Yeah.
Um,
Right.
but yeah, I still really enjoy that match. I love looking at the music video version of it. Um, I
Yeah.
like
I mean, you
that.
kind of have to because
Well,
43 minutes is that's not
put
something
on
that
his
you just pop
his
on.
background noise. Put on his background.
Right.
But no, and even the swerve, the heel turn finish, whatever you want to call it, at the end there. I love that kind of stuff. It just made what I did different from most of the yard matches, where there was kind of a clean finish usually and a crazy big moment at the end and everything. We didn't have a big moment at the end. It was almost not deflating, but it wasn't the biggest moment of the match. And
Right.
that was the kind of psychology I was purposely trying to bring to my matches that maybe didn't look amazing in music video form, but that was just me trying to be different.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, to be completely honest, being different was the right move. Mike and I talked at BYG last year about how we kind of wish that we didn't necessarily let people steer us away from what we were good at. Not everybody is a VCW guy, right? And it's like the Scott Hensons of the world that could do every style, and the Yakuza Jays of the world that do every style, and Dan Makabe, and they're all 45-minute Ring of Honor main events, and they have 7 false finishes. And like, we were watching that and seeing how dope it was and trying to emulate what they were doing, as opposed to maybe like going out on a limb a little bit and trying to just find ourselves in what we could do. And I mean, it happened eventually, but it happened later for both of us. Like Mike until the last year of BXW when he was having death matches against everybody, and me after the awakening was over, when I kind of started to really just mellow out and figure out like a chill way of wrestling and something that I thought suited me a little bit more. It's just like, I think being different, especially in such a tight knit community and such a small pond, I think being different was the right move because that's what gets you remembered. That's what people think about 10 years later. And while it might not have been like, this guy is so incredible, we're moving him to the top of the community and all the main events, you still have stuff like being AR Fox's favorite backyard wrestler, right?
Yes. Technically, I am AR Fox's favorite backyard wrestler. I will say that publicly.
Yeah, and technically is the best kind of right.
and why? Because he loved my head spikes.
Exactly.
So there you go. That was me being inspired by everyone before me. And I still like to break them out once in a while. To the terror of some promoters, I'll still break it out once in a while.
Well, that was the end of 2011, and 2011 was the last active year that my Fed SWC was running. And we had a couple shows. We did Abyss in 2011, which was really fun. A few home shows, but for the most part, we were kind of starting to integrate into the BXW fold a little more than doing our own thing. Mm-hmm. And the main reason for that is because one morning Ed and I woke up and I got a call from my uncle, who was the maintenance man of my apartment complex. And he said, hey, you might want to go look over at your wrestling area over there in the woods. And unfortunately, what had happened was, long story short, the people that thought that they owned this land that gave us the okay to wrestle here didn't actually own this land. And the people that did own this land decided that they were going to start building on it. And they hired a junk removal crew and they went back in the woods and left a muddy trail everywhere. But that's it. That's where it used to be. That's the entrance, completely gone. They took everything, man. Like the base completely gone. It's just a field in the middle of the woods, right? So very unfortunately, no more Suicidal Wrestling Clash in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And in order to do something with this, I believe I reached out to you about it, right? Do you remember?
Yes. First of all, I wanted to know, now that I know the full story, if I did before I forgot, did they build something else there eventually?
Yeah, so we actually just the promo that I filmed last year against Dawn was in that same field. If you walk up a little bit and look to the left, there is a $500,000 home sitting there. So this is their backyard.
We got to get that house. That's got to be Wrestle House.
So I was looking into maybe talking to them, seeing what I could do about. We'll talk about that when we talk about that.
It took them 10 years to buy a house there, but they finally did it.
Yeah, I mean, it's beautiful, dude. It's such an annoying house too. It's way too nice to be where it's at. But so I believe I reached out to you, right? And like,
you did, yeah. I was still in the era where some people were kind of iffy on me. You know, is Rad Hazard really Rad Hazard all the time? Is he playing a character? What kind of guy is he? But you and I were cool already from our previous interactions, and you were the one that said, "Hey, let's make something of this." Which to this day, I still tell people, rookies, everybody, I'm like, if anything bad happens to you in your life that regards your career, use that use it as fuel. Put it in your promos, put it in your storylines. You know, take that negative, make it a positive. And the end of a company in the backyard, so many companies were starting to fall off over the next like 2-3 years. A lot of them just kind of stopped, or they had their last show, you know, and that was it. You took the initiative to make something bigger out of it than just, you know, oh, here it's over. Sorry. You tried to make me look better as a heel. You tried to make a big moment for an eventual feud that we did have that had a lot of fuel behind the fire. And I really appreciate that you reached out to launch this, because that. When do you think you sent me that video? December, January, something like that?
So it looks like December 1st is
December,
whenever it happened. So I guess
gave us many months to get something going with that.
Yeah, and I want to say that like we kind of booked ourselves at PKM3, right? Like we said, hey, we're doing this, we should do this.
We absolutely did. I was so oblivious to how a lot of people are just waiting for the promoter to tell them who to wrestle, and I was the guy going, Hey, I think I'm gonna. Okay, can I wrestle Mike Damage at Goodbye? Hey, can I wrestle P Dub at Kim 2? And like nobody gave me pushback ever. And I think it was B Cubed who was like, we usually don't just give whoever they want a match at WrestleFest. And I was like, oh, is that a problem? He's like, well, no, but just try to watch your back with that. And I was like, oh, okay. Like I was an idiot. I didn't know. So yeah, I'm sure we just kind of told somebody, yeah, I'm wrestling Sick Rick. Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I mean at that time, like I was pretty deep into the BXW family. Like the Pittsburgh people were the few people that were actually allowed to stay at the BXW house, and like we were part of it as much as anybody else that wasn't directly BXW could be. So like you wanting to wrestle me, it's real easy for me to want to wrestle you, and they probably didn't care too much about saying yes for that. So you kicked off the show with a promo where you cut a promo beforehand, right? Like you did a home promo.
Yeah.
But then we get to PKM3 and you cut a promo where you say what happened.
I can only remember so much. I do know that I was the reason that the company lost the venue. I think I bought it out or something like that because I'm an evil billionaire. Moohoo ha 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 ha.
And because of the Goodbye 2011,
leads to you being the Revival champion.
Yeah.
What's that?
And because of the Goodbye 2011, whenever I got put into that match and I lariated you, so you were like, "Oh, Rick's turning on me. Rick's against me now, so I'm going to get rid of the base."
That's right. I was going to mention it because I think just the lariat in general was a big inspiration to like, we got to kind of do something next. Because I wasn't going to feud with Joe Randa. He's doing his own thing in Kentucky. So it felt like a natural progression of what we had already done the whole year, really. But that would ultimately lead to the the unification match that was going to unify the Revival Championship and the Battleborn Wrestling World Championship, which some people called the BBW World Title until I realized that was like a foreign thing. And once again, I'm oblivious. And I'm like, oh, no. And I told Mike Damage who's I'm like, can you call it the 2BW title or the Battleborn title? He's like, nah, it's BBW. It's funny. Okay. And we just kind of went with it, and I looked like an idiot. So funny.
I think it played. I don't think it was that big of a deal. It was funny, but like, I mean, when you look at the some of the titles that I Sucks Dicks named their belts, like, I mean, the fact of the matter is their company was called I Sucks Dicks. But I remember the first spot that we had in this match, actually, there was a little bit of miscommunication because I wanted you to like jump at me off the top rope. And like, I guess you assumed or whatever that I meant that I was going to hit you off the rope. So like, I was kind of waiting for you to come, and I guess you were waiting for me to come to you. And eventually I just went up and threw one.
Fun fact, the spot of you hitting me at the top rope, it's exactly what we did with Matt Nix at the reunion show. I just realized that looking at it right now.
Exactly. So I thought the same thing because I've been working on that video.
Oh, there you go. That Battleborn Wrestling World Title was 6 pounds or something. It was insanely heavy for a replica belt. It was the real deal, legit belt. Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, and like I really like the not only the story, but the way that we actually interacted in this match as if we were fighting each other, because you don't get that a lot in backyard wrestling.
No, there was a really good intensity. Ooh, I like that too. Because like so much of the yard days back then, we're trying to be different. You know, everyone's doing their super spots. I'm not the most athletic guy. I can land on my head a bunch. So we used our character work, and I think this is one of the best examples, probably ever in my career, to be honest. In the yard, like this has got to be in the top 5 of good character work, good intensity. My first Poison Rana, bam. I went on to do hundreds of those.
I think I probably booked you to do that because I love taking that move.
You did, and then you inspired it. So I was still doing Poison Ranas up till maybe 2017, 2018, yeah. And there's almost the first stunner of my career.
Almost, yeah.
But yeah, like look, my moonsault. Is that my first moonsault?
I think so, because I was hyped up about it, and I remember being on the ground and I like looked around and nobody was cheering because you were a bad guy. And I think I angrily said something like, I guess Rad Hazard doing a moonsault isn't cool.
I mean,
Like,
every other moonsault I ever did, it looked like a sack of shit on the ground.
Duck the Powder from old Folklin over
I
there.
remember thinking that was going to be so cool of like, well, I'll duck the powder the first time and then
you'll
get it the second time.
You were supposed to get misted. And
was it mist first?
Yeah, his no, it was supposed to be duck the powder
and then
get misted.
Gotcha.
But his mist bag broke, so he had to just grab another handful of powder and run it at you.
Gotcha.
Oh, you do not spit on me. This is not going to end well.
Oh, jeez,
brother. Oh, let's just this was definitely my idea. I had to pull you up a little further. I'm like, we're going up another rope.
I wanted that. Oh man,
so
cool.
good.
Do you remember taking the power bomb? You were holding up for dear life for that power bomb, man.
I didn't want to let go. I know that for sure. And then whenever I did finally let go, I just hoped that I looked like an accordion. Like,
oh, it was great.
Then
now we're just putting ourselves over, but this was a great story. I really liked it a lot. And it's one of the very few times there was ever a reverse decision or a dusty finish that I can think of at any Super Show. We're trying to do different stuff, you know.
So for me, this was my first WrestleMania was WrestleMania 14, and Ken Shamrock versus The Rock. How at the end of it, Ken Shamrock snapped and like ankle locked everybody, and they took the belt off of him and gave it back to Rock. I was like, I want to do that because I'm like the bad guy, right? So I would do something like that. But in this match, I'm the good guy, and we're doing title versus title. So like, how do I find a way to do something where I still look like a fucking maniac at the end of it, but also don't look like necessarily a heel? So like, this is what we had come up with, and yeah, he had to be 5 or 6 Coors Lights deep at that time.
I mean, good for you for shake handing him at least. Oh, is this a Spirit Squad deal?
Yeah, the Awakening Kick. Oh, you're the only person we ever did that to the face to, though. We normally did that to people's backs. So I'm guessing that was you. You probably said, "Can you do it the other way?" And we just did it.
I'm an idiot. I was always trying to say, just do it the other direction, wherever that meant.
Just flip it around. Why not?
Yeah.
And
so much stuff. My first Poison Rana. I did so much stuff from that match alone in the future. It really opened my eyes to trying to do more high flying stuff. Even like did a springboard at one point. Like I was not that kind of wrestler, and you being such a good base kind of showed me that I could be a little more innovative and while also doing storytelling. So that was really good.
My favorite part of the match, particularly like whenever I watch it through the eyes of a critical wrestling watcher, would be whenever you did the reverse springboard and I caught you with the German. It was so solid, bro.
Oh,
like you hit me and I just went bang. And
it was a magnet.
Yeah, it was, dude. I love that kind of stuff. And I've always prided myself on being the dude that like I never dropped somebody that wanted to dive. I would get hit in the face with a knee my fair share of times throughout the 8 or 9 years that I did this, but I never dropped anybody. And so much to the point where like later on there was the Awakening versus Kokujin Wrecking Crew match that kind of blew off that whole storyline. And Two-Step was scared to do a dive. And Don looks over at me. He looks at Two-Step. He's like, Rick's in the match. He won't let you hit the ground. And I was like, that was one of those moments where I'm like, you're damn right I won't, because that's what I do. You know, like I don't know why that was just such a big deal for me, but it was like important to me that people knew that if you wanted to jump, you were safe with me being there, you know?
Rub it in that you wrestled Two-Step. Rub it in.
Yeah, I did. But with that, after that match was over, man, I touched on this a little bit on our last interview, and maybe you had went inside, and I went over to hang out on the little porch across the alley that was always over there. And Andy and Arbo were chilling on that little porch, and I walk up to them, probably cigarette in hand, just saying what's up to them, and both of them so complimentary of the match that you and I just had. And earlier in that day, it was Andy and Arbo versus Pete and TKO. Yeah. So like they had that match earlier in the day, and then you and I have our match, and they're like, you guys look like $1,000,000 up there. It was great. I had a lot of fun watching, and I'm like, do you know who you are and who I am? Like, are you sure that, are you talking to the right person, you know? And
1,000%. I'm pretty sure that's the day I met those two as well. And
yeah,
start of a long friendship. I had the last pro wrestling match of both of them. And that was because they handpicked me and P-Dub. And yeah, so I guess they weren't faking it. They really did like it.
right. Exactly. Um, so at this last show at Backyard Gathering this year, I was in a small circle with like Arbo and a couple other people, and we were just shooting shit, talking about the times as you do at these reunion shows specifically. And Arbo looks at me and he's like, I've known you since like 2006 and we've never wrestled. And I'm like, bro, no, we did not meet until like 2012. Like we, and it's probably because like we've talked a lot and we got the Juggalo thing in common, and like we've always been like cool with each other on that side of things, so that the wrestling part always kind of seems secondary. But he was just like, dude, I've known you for like 2 decades, and it's like closer to 1, but you know, whatever. And that's kind of how it is in the community, right? Like all these friendships almost blur together, and until you start doing stuff like this, you don't necessarily realize exactly when you might have met somebody for the first time, and unless it left a big impression on you, right?
Yeah, so many people, especially nowadays, like everyone talks online. It's Facebook Messenger, voice chat, video chat, that kind of stuff. Going back to the mid 2000s into the late 2000s, like that wasn't too much of a thing unless you were on the forums, unless you're doing the AIM Messenger, and we were all doing that.
Right.
I'm sure there's plenty of people that I think I met years before I did, just because we were already chatting. We were already talking every single day, and it felt like we all knew each other, even though it was a couple sentences, a couple sentences a day on a forum. It felt like we were all hanging out at school or something, and we all knew each other that well and that deeply. And it never felt like we were meeting people for the first time in person. It felt like we were almost reuniting, even though we were meeting for the first time every time.
Yeah, it's awesome. And that's almost exactly how we felt at these last couple of shows that we were just in attendance of. It's Not Dead Yet. You and I were extremely focal at parts of the show. You know, I started it, you ended it. I ran the show, you won the strap. Like, in terms of the wrestlers, that It's Not Dead Yet was Sick Rick and Rad Hazard's like showcase almost.
Yes.
Plenty of other people did plenty of great things, not taking anything away from anybody, but in general, like that show really did a lot to spotlight you and I in particular. And what's funny about that is at Backyard Gathering, neither one of us wrestled, and we were both there. In fact, I didn't even see a match. I showed up after day 1 and I left before day 2 because Eric Airborne was supposed to hang out with me and decided to no show.
Oh, forget that. But
yeah.
No, we got the music videos, we got the videos coming out, so you'll be able to see all that when it comes out in its final form. But absolutely, I was very honored and very privileged to be a part of the spotlight of our It's Not Dead Yet event. That still means a lot to me. I think about it every single day. I got the strap right next to me in our living room. I see it every day before I go to work and remember what the real world's like. But yeah, so like going to the gathering and seeing everyone else kill it and seeing all the crazy shit that I saw in person, I was happy to sit on the sidelines and cheer my friends doing what they do best and spotlighting themselves as the great wrestlers and people we know they are.
Absolutely. And you know, I had a long trip all by myself, but I still did everything I could to be there because, as I said to you while we were out there, it's like I sold people on It's Not Dead Yet by saying you never know when it could be the last time.
Yes.
Well, if that's how I sold people to come to my show, I have to live by that, right? So even though it was extremely inconvenient and a lot of extra effort that I had to get through, I made sure that I got out there just to see everybody, say hi, give my hugs, you know, live my life a little bit for at least 24 hours.
Yeah, that was the exact same way with me. I was booked for other shows. Those got canceled. I didn't have a vehicle, didn't have a way to get there, talk to other people. I felt like it was important for me to be there and support not because of this belt. Like, it's not about that. It's about the community and the friendships, and proving that you give a fuck and that you care. And we did that. We went out there and we showed people that we care, and they showed up because they care too.
Yeah, happy belated to Eric Airborne, who claims that he showed up, but as far as I remember, there was an old guy there for sure, a little bit on day one, but I'm not entirely sure if it was actually him. Happy birthday from yesterday, bud. So PKM3 was the end of our initial storyline, right?
Yeah.
And then something else might have happened.
Maybe something.
A year later at Paul Kunkel Memorial 4, there was, as you put it, after the match that Doug was in, which
was I wrong?
No, you were correct, but also for reasons that we're about to find out, you don't remember maybe that you were also in that match. It was you and Eric Douglas versus the OG stepdads, Patrick Wade Wilson and Danny Devine, versus two members of a new faction called the Backyard Battalion, who was Adam Bolt Burnett or Kyle Bolt or Jordan, whatever the hell you want to call him, and Andrew Sellers. And you were doing the radical movement thing pretty hardcore at the time. It was you, Doug, Fokelin, anybody else? Maybe
Genocide. We were and Urban. We were the radical movement elite, because there was only like 5 of us now. We're gonna stick to just the 4 or 5 of us. Maybe Big Vin at some point joins in, but that's it. We're gonna keep it much smaller, more truncated.
Right. And with that, there was an opportunity for the new faction, the Backyard Battalion, featuring Tommy Flambeau and the Flamboys, to try to make a name for themselves, maybe as a good guy team off of the heat that the radical movement had. And so there were 3 of them and like 5 of you, and the plan was to introduce me as the muscle, so to speak, of the Backyard Battalion.
Oh, you were the muscle, all right.
And you want to tell what the idea was?
So my memory of it was that you guys, I think it was you guys, somebody handcuffs me to the ring post, so I cannot get into the ring. I don't know if anybody else is also like preoccupied, but either way, I'm handcuffed to the ring post. I end up being zip tied to the ring post, but I was supposed to be handcuffed to the ring post. Doug is then, I don't remember if he's kidnapped or if he gets his head shaved or is supposed to get his head shaved. There's like multiple times where they do stuff to Doug. This being after the match that Doug is in, by the way. So I have
right.
But the battalion essentially is grabbing Doug, right? Am I right about that, or does that happen the next day?
No, that is supposed to be happening at this moment. But at the time, the battalion was getting beat down by the radical movement and the stepdads and stuff like that.
By the way, look at Sellers' hair. He's all bald and stuff. That's crazy look. I don't even remember that.
Little mohawk.
I know.
So we have Kale jumping in, right? He's sick of your shit. He cut a promo earlier.
Of course,
that
pile
day,
driver. Shoot pile driver. That genuinely might be the first pile driver I ever took. That probably is.
He cut a promo earlier that day with the other battalion guys, basically saying, like, you guys got to behave. And you're like, oh, we will. And then he's like, no, you won't, but I'll make sure you do.
What a group. I mean, how long did this last? Maybe a couple of months?
The battalion? Yeah. It lasted a little bit of time. Because
I know it kind of unified into the crew at some point.
Yeah. No, just the Flamboys kind of moved over to them. Because at NYE3, Vengeance joined the battalion. So it was us 4 and St. Vengeance. And then by the end of that year, I'm pretty sure like me and Kale stopped going to shows for the most part. So I think it was just, so I think it was just like the boys and Vengeance. And then eventually, like, it probably just nothing happened, I'm sure the boys.
We had a summer of battalion. I'll tell
you. Like Dawn threw up the Too Sweet to the Flamboys once or twice, and they started wearing blue together, and then that was that.
Kale couldn't compete with the Too Sweet. Look at this surgical precision he's got. Oh, I woke up just in time, but it's too late.
So you were zip tied to the ring.
Yeah, I was zip tied to the ring, and I was just supposed to watch. Kind of like, in my mind, it was like the Randy Orton kissing Stephanie McMahon and Triple H is tied to the ropes kind of thing, handcuffed the ropes. That was my understanding.
So, and I can appreciate that, and that makes this make even more sense, because my understanding was that you were supposed to get out, because there's a lull in the breakdown in the fight, where the Radical Movement have numbers and they are winning the fight. So you were supposed to get out to put them over the top, and then as you broke out, I was supposed to grab you, shit can you, and then beat up the Radical Movement. That's what I remember. I could be wrong.
I'm glad somebody told me. I'll tell you that right now.
I bet you wish somebody had told you.
Because I mean, he is. I mean, you might be right, and I just don't remember, because I do know somebody has to cut me out of these zip ties at some point. But
right,
I'm just
he has a gun. Now, Sellers has a gun.
By the way,
Sellers has a gun.
He's got a knife. And I'm just freaking out down there. This is yeah. See, we should have done more stuff like this. This is so funny. I remember hearing about this for like 2 weeks beforehand. Kale was so excited. I'm gnawing up my own hand now. You could be right. I was supposed to do something else. I don't remember that because it doesn't happen. But either way,
because like my thought process was like I was sitting there waiting for you to make your move, and I was staring at you, eyes on you. I'm like, as soon as he gets out of this, I'm going for him. And like what ends up transpiring is very obviously completely my fault. Something that
it's really the ring post fault.
Something that I didn't know how to avoid, and I shouldn't have done it the way that I did. But like right here, Steve saving Doug, and like there now that it's technically, I think Steve was supposed to come save you. Maybe
I think you're right. I think at this point Steve might be supposed to
I think he's looking around.
Have the
okay, so that's exactly what happened, because he was looking around, and you could tell there was nothing in any bags or anything like that. And he's looking, and he's like, I don't know what to do. So he looks at me. He looked at me right there, and I bum rushed you. Mm-hmm. And then that's right where...
Because you were supposed to take me out anyway.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And then what had happened there off camera, Rad?
So essentially, I remember it as... I see Steve can't cut me out or whatever. So I remember seeing Steve running around and just kind of staring towards him. I feel something in my back. I always presumed it was a kick. I really don't know.
It was a little worker kick, just a little like stick the leg out, you know?
And it wasn't like I can tell you for sure it wasn't a stiff kick or anything like that. It just happened to be that the way I was looking towards Steve, I was right in front of the ring post. I was right in front, and we had those square ring posts you can see on the screen now. So I'm staring right at it, and I just I go right into that square of the ring post. My face just nails it. My initial thought, outside of "oh damn that hurt," was I thought I'd broken my front teeth.
Yeah,
and so that was really my only worry was I think I broke my front teeth. I later go on to break my front teeth thanks to the guy on the screen right there, Matt Ecstatic.
It's funny because he's looking at you like the face he's making right now is Rad just got fucked up.
Oh, yeah. He's like, one day I'm going to make him Bret Hart the ring and the turnbuckle and break his front teeth. It's going to be great. That's what he's saying. But no, so I hit that, and my fear immediately is the front teeth. I'm still handcuffed. I can't do anything. Not, I mean, zip tied. Yeah. Can't do anything. So I'm using my tongue, checking my teeth. I'm probably a little loopy. And then when I'm looking down, touching my teeth with my tongue, that's when the blood starts going down, and I realize my nose has been messed up.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see it on camera. It's right about there. I still have a scar on my nose.
So this is kind of gnarly.
Oh, yeah. See, you're just taking it out now. You're taking it out, everybody.
So this is one of the things I've never watched that before because because of what had happened, right?
Yeah.
So So for me, it was always like not something that I necessarily wanted to go revisit. So watching this clip for this podcast, I think is the first time in my life. And there you see me like
Yep.
crawl over to the corner to be like, Rad, how you doing? Is everything cool over here? I never watched this before. So seeing those two lariats for the first time, I was like, damn, they really put me over on those. Like I can appreciate that now. But at the time I was like only really concerned about you, right?
I appreciate that, and that's why it's like, oh, when did this happen? Oh, the match after Doug. I
Yeah.
probably watched this when it came out, and then never again. So this would be the second time for me, for sure. And
So
it's a
then
funny spot and a funny moment that I wish we could emphasize it more back then and show more stuff. But yeah, and unfortunately, it's not on camera. The hit, you can see the blood on the apron
on the
there.
ring, yeah, on the apron, yeah. I
Everyone's
use this for the
concerned.
thumbnail.
My main concern was traveling. How am I going to get back home? How am I going to deal with this with my family? That kind
You
of
had
stuff.
a lot.
What's that?
You had a lot like to think about.
I did. This could very well be a thing where like my family's like, hey, don't do any more wrestling. Don't do any more
Right.
traveling. Like they were terrified just from me training, much less now I have an injury or an injury. You know, I never got a doctor to check on it or anything like that. I went to work and I had the, you know, all that garbage on my nose and stuff, had some cuts. I want to say at this point I was already working overnights. So it really didn't hinder my life. Yeah. Outside of Rick, now I snore sometimes, and that's I blame you directly.
You know, I'm more than willing to take blame for that. At this moment right here, whenever you get up to go inside, you're kind of like ushered in, and I feel terrible, right? I knew after it happened, I'm like, I couldn't have just attacked him like that. Like I needed to do something else. But in the heat of the moment, when all the panic was on and I didn't know what to do, I just reacted in a manner that was unsafe and unprofessional. And I knew it as soon as you got hurt, right? And it's just one of those things where it's like hindsight makes everything real easy to see. So you're like whisked away inside, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, do I follow? Like, I feel bad. Like, I want to make sure that Rad's okay. And Dawn kind of like arm around, walks me over to the side. He's like, let him go inside and get cleaned up. You hang out. Like, everything will be okay. And, bro, I went over to the other set of steps, like the further one by the piss alley. And dude, I sat down and cried. Like I felt like such shit. It was literally the only time that I ever felt like I hurt somebody because I did something that I shouldn't have done. And it was an extremely emotional moment for me because like I really felt terrible about it. But at the same time, it was one of those things where it's like, now I'm over here drawing attention to myself whenever Rad is the one that's hurt. And like people are coming to talk to me, and I'm like, don't worry about me. I'm cool. Like, go make sure Rad's okay. So I let them clean you up. Eventually, I find my way to you, and you're like, I'm fine, man. Like, everything's good. But for that, like 5 minutes where I'm outside and you're inside, dude, my heart was broken. Like, I felt so fucking bad. And to this day, it's still the only time where I legitimately was like, I shouldn't have done that. I put somebody else's health in jeopardy because I did something stupid. And like, that made me think about shit going forward. And it sucks that it was a learning situation, but it was because we're backyard wrestlers who maybe 0% trained. So like in a scenario like that, I didn't know what else to do. And doing that and having that happen the way it did, I now know what to definitely not do. Like, don't attack somebody from behind that doesn't know it's coming, you know, like at the time I didn't, now I do. It is a very unfortunate way to learn and still feel a way about it, you know, but at the same time, it's like, even watching it now, I'm like, you are a fucking idiot, dude. like you didn't need to do that. And, heat of the moment, just shit happened, right?
Exactly. And obviously we joke a lot and we'll keep joking, but there's no harm, no foul, and that kind of stuff. I remember going to the back, getting cleaned up, and my first thought really was, thank God it wasn't worse.
Yeah.
You know, if anything, you know, if you decided to kick a little harder or give a splash, and it could have really messed things up. But, you know, you're you. You did it your way. It was, you could say, oh, I shouldn't have done that and stuff like that, but that's how we live and learn. And that's the most wrestler thing in the world, is that you kind of almost have to screw up in order to know what not to do in most cases. And thank goodness for us, it was something that didn't permanently affect me in any way outside of, now I snore. Okay, big deal. But like, it really doesn't affect my daily life or anything like that. And I don't want anyone to think any ill of you, because I never did. I just wanted it to be a moment. And I tried to make it a moment the next day when I had all these Hello Kitty bandages on my head and Band-Aids. And we took a bunch of pictures with it and stuff. And I was posting that all over the place. Like, even though we didn't have another feud out of it or anything like that, maybe we did more with the battalion. I don't quite remember. We probably did. But
Nah.
no, not even a rematch
Nah.
later. Either way, well, we had to get Doug back somehow. So whatever we did there, we did that. But
we brought him out later that day in whatever match that I had. Like, Doug came out with us, and I guess we just gave him back to you or something. We'll have to look into that to see exactly how it went.
We're gonna have to unlock our brains and figure this out. Future episodes, folks, stay tuned. We're gonna figure out what happened to Eric Douglas with the battalion. But either way, these are the things we have to live and learn. And I'm sure in the future we're gonna see more stuff that people will be like, oh, maybe we shouldn't have done that. But in the end, we're all good. And we get to relive these memories, good and bad. And I think even the bad ones have a reflection of good now. And even though it's kind of our last interaction, per se, on screen in the ring, it's a memorable one. I'll give you that.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, at least for me and you in particular. I'm sure other people there kind of remember it, but it caused you an impact and it caused me an impact. So that's something that's kind of like we're trauma bonded over me hurting you. So because of that, next time we see each other, we'll get a little cuddle in.
And before anybody asks, don't worry, the ring was okay too. We checked. The ring post was fine.
Yeah, we might have loosened the ropes a little bit, pushed that post in a little more than it already was. But at the end of the day, it still took a couple more years before it really reached some of the lows that it experienced.
Oh yeah.
So when we were discussing how this episode was going to go, I saw it going a lot like this. We might have went a little bit longer than I thought we might, but it's episode 1. We're still figuring out how long it takes us to talk about whatever. You brought up a conversation that you and I had, and I'll just let you talk about it. Whatever you're feeling.
It actually perfectly ties into what we were just talking about, because, like I said, mistakes happen and we get all beat up and we feel bad about, little mistakes and injuries and things like that. A lot of people don't know, in 2015, I believe it was 203 BYW, might have been WrestleLenium. I can't quite remember. I think it was, right?
WrestleLenium 7.
Yep, I wrestled Primetime Tony, in a street fight. It was the first time I had purposely bladed in a match. Before that, it was all shoot, weirdly enough. I had a couple of cuts in the past. Thanks, TJ Blade, actually cutting me. But we'll have to tell that story at some point. Him accidentally giving me a chair shot and cut me open. But I bladed. We did all this stuff. We're both covered in blood, weapons. Kind of death matchy. It was particularly advertised as a street fight, but it was very death matchy implications. And I was in a really bad way in 2015. A lot of things that were supposed to happen didn't happen. A lot of promises not kept, personal stuff. Not that I'm in a closed book about it, but it really doesn't matter to this story. It's just that I was feeling really down. And for some reason, I thought that, just having more violent death match type situations was the way to go. After that match, which the match went fine, the match went great. We're both covered in blood, laughing. We take a picture. It was you that pulled me to the side, and you were like, "Hey," and you kind of said something to the theme of, "Hey, I know how you're feeling. I know what you're doing. I don't think you should be doing this. It's not really you." and you were kind of vague, really, in that sense, like kind of like, you know what I'm saying. I'm not going to say
Mhm.
any more than that. And you were the first person, and really the only person, unless I'm forgetting somebody, that kind of did that. That pulled me to the side and was like, "Hey, if you're going through something bad, you don't have to like maim yourself. You don't have to feel bad about it. And hurt yourself if you want to think of it in that sense." And I wasn't particularly thinking of it that way. I'm not that kind of person, but it it struck me that, yeah, I was in a bad way, and I was really looking at it in that sense. And I did have one more death match afterwards with somebody at BXW, but after that, I went back to being a technical wrestler. And a couple of months, literally like 6 months after that, something, I was in the pros. And I like to think that I probably would have went into the pros anyway. I don't know that for sure, because that wasn't my goal even at the time. But it reminds me how, like, us talking a couple of years earlier about the yard scene and the BYW link, and us seeing the past and how crazy everyone was, to us feuding, to us uh, making a big angle with the end of your promotion, all the way to the accident with the ring post. Like, we care about each other, and we know what we have to say to each other when we need it. And we all have those moments. This wasn't the only one for me, but this particular instance where I was feeling down, you were there for me. And I think it's a great way to kind of wrap all of this up, that you were there for me when I needed it most. And that means a lot. We haven't talked about this in the past or anything, really.
No.
It's coming straight from the heart right now. But that stuck with me. It stuck with me literally like the last 9 years, whatever it is, 10 years. And it meant a lot. And whenever I do feel down, which is very rare these days, I'm pretty happy with my career and my life.
As you should be.
Oh, thank you, sir. But it all goes back to you saying, like, I know what you're doing. We all see it. It's not really you. You shouldn't do it. And whenever I get into a mode where it's like, maybe I'll do this thing, or it's not me. I really shouldn't do it. And you're that conscience, that little extra angel on my shoulder that I need sometimes. And I appreciate you, Sick Rick. Thank you, buddy.
Bro, I love you, man. And I'm happy to be
Love
a
you
part
too.
of your story in any way that I can be. And I'm sure at the time for me, maybe that was like a little innocuous thing. That was just something real quick that I was just like, maybe I should go say something. Like, and I'm sure that everybody in our community has been touched similarly to
Mhm.
that by other people in ways that maybe the person that has done the picking up didn't even know they were doing it. That's just part of the brotherhood and the way that our community interacts with each other. It's like not even intentionally making lasting impacts on each other's lives. And like, for me, that is way more cool and way more important than any YouTube hits or anything like that we could have got at the time. It's about the community, it's about the brotherhood, and it's also about wrestling. And that's why we watch the wrestling while we talk about this stuff, right? But it's the community. And without them, there'd be no us. And without us, there'd be no them. And it's all cyclical. And I just really love everybody in the community. Like, it's a big part of my life still. It was back then. I hope that it is going forward. And having a podcast like this will be hopefully our, train through the community where everybody can hop on board. Maybe we'll talk to certain people. We have enough room to fit, I think, up to 6 people in here at once. Now, we'll never go that crazy, but we can throw some other people in here, watch some matches, do talks and walks, and do all the stuff that we have to do to jog other people's memories and give them a good time about it.
Absolutely. I love backyard wrestling with all my heart. This is a backyard wrestling podcast, but to me, backyard wrestling isn't the Canadian Destroyers. B Cubed is backyard wrestling. Sam Jude is backyard wrestling. BXW's backyard wrestling. This belt is backyard wrestling. That's the stuff I love. That's the stuff I'm proud to be a part of. The people, the places, the things, and I'm thrilled to be a part of this with you, my friend. We're going to talk about all of it. We're going to jostle so many memories and try to remember things and screw it up and figure it out later. And hopefully all the people that have been listening and watching tonight and in future iterations when they rewatch this later, I hope they enjoy this frolic down memory lane. And we got much, much more coming. 20 plus years of backyard wrestling. We can pick and choose wherever we want, and it's going to be a hell of a ride.
Yeah, we're going to talk about all the yard times, baby. And while we're going, it might not be in any type of chronological order. It might not make a lot of sense. We're just going to talk about what we want to talk about when we want to talk about it. And the glory of that is, in order to get there, we start here with our story. And in the future, now we don't have to really go into depth with what we did together anymore. We could talk about what we did separately, what we did with other people, what we saw. It's going to be a good time. And I'm really excited to see how many episodes of this we actually get through. Maybe more than the Thunder Buddies.
I mean, we were up to a little over 50 episodes. Can we do it? I think we can.
We would have to be doing this for a few years, but we'll see if we can get there. Definitely going to get more episodes out of this than we did out of the Backyardians. So going forward, maybe we'll even have information on like future super shows on here and reunion stuff, and trying to get potentially adding new members to an old community and seeing what we could do about growing our space as opposed to keeping it so locked off. But that's all for the future. Do you have anything coming up cool you want to plug?
I got a whole bunch of indie dates coming up. If you want to look up Pure Vanguard Wrestling, we're wrestling in the co-main event there. I am currently the Mat Pro Wrestling Grand Champion. If you want to look up Mat Pro Wrestling here in New Jersey, I main event those events. Let's see what else. TF Crew in Connecticut. I recently main evented the last 2 shows they have there. You might hear a lot of main events. I'm sorry, I'm kind of popular, I guess.
Yeah, you're just kind of a big deal. It's not a
no. Alex Zane is a big deal, not me. But
he's a big deal. You're kind of a big deal.
I'll take that. And I recently just joined the ISPW, Independent Superstars of Pro Wrestling. Definitely check them out. They have 5 or 6 events a month all across the New Jersey area. And there's so much more coming for Rad Dad Radley Belmont and the Stepdads. I am thrilled about my career. A lot of exciting stuff coming up. Just like back in the day with the Yard, man. We're going all out.
Yeah, and like you're no longer a guest. You're officially a member of Golden Triangle Media because there's not a lot of us anymore. So having you be on the GTM team is fantastic. And I love that for me and the prospects of this channel going forward. For now, we're running, what is it? BXW Goodbye 2012, I believe, is stuff that I'm dropping right now. We're doing WrestleFest 3 Jonah tapes. Just got done doing Backyard Fest 8. In the future, we're going to have some more WrestleFest, I think, that I'm going to dig out. See what I could do about maybe some XWA shows here. I have a lot, dude. I have so much. And it's all coming to you on the Golden Triangle Media YouTube. I post pretty much daily. And Rad and I will be back doing this on another Tuesday. I don't know how long it'll be from now, but it will be a Tuesday, and it'll probably be 8 o'clock. So just every Tuesday at 8 from here until infinity, go on the Golden Triangle Media YouTube and see if we're on. There's a chance we'll be here. All right, Rad. Well,
yeah, and always check out the Stepdads Wrestling social medias, please. Stepdads Wrestling, all one word. If you put a space in between, I'm not liable for what you find. I'm sorry.
Well, it's great having you, bud, and we're going to let our people get off at just a shade under an hour and a half. I appreciate everybody stopping through. We got Eric and Shilson and Sean Jovi and a guy named Ox McCoy, who I'm not really familiar with, but I'm sure he's a dude. Chris Frank came through. My boy Angry came through. My first lady of Golden Triangle Media, Ashley, stopped through for a second to say hi. And Marky333, who I'm familiar with through Instagram, but a few other people. And we just appreciate you being here with us for the whole show. And hope you stop by in the future. And we're going to do a lot more watch-alongs. And yeah, we'll see how this baby goes. All right. Well, with that, Golden Triangle Media out. I love that. I'm going to do that too. Now I'm hitting the end stream button.
We got a thing now.